Prayer. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this Council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take there. Ms. Claire, roll call.
Miss Sorb,
Here?
Miss Gaston,
Here.
Miss Alexander,
Here.
Miss Keratin,
Here.
Miss Clear,
Here.
Mr. Davis,
Here.
Miss Chichester.
Here.
Okay, so everybody should have their agenda in front of them.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I would like to make a motion to make 2 edits to tonight's agenda, if I may.
Okay.
The first edit would be, I would like to add an executive session, and I would like to add it right before old business. And the wording will be pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22, G1. Council will enter into executive session under section to consider the appointment, employment, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or official, and also G4 to prepare for conduct or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. So that's the first part. The second thing is I would like to add a piece of legislation for the first reading. And Madam Clerk, I'll need a, thank you. It'll be ordinance 3, and it will be an ordinance appropriating, oh, no, it won't. That's the wrong one. Forgive me.
I think that needs to be a resolution.
Point of
but-
order.
Yes.
I believe that motions are to be one motion at a time and not combined into 2 different things.
That's fine. We can go ahead while you're looking up the second part of that to go ahead and work on the first part.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston?
I would like to second to add the executive session before old business.
Okay. So I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Gaston to add executive session for G2 and G4 of section 121.22. Roll call?
Miss Sorb,
Yes.
Miss Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Keratin,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Miss Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Excuse me, Madam President, with your permission, I would like to give a copy of the written motion to the clerk. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Thank you. There you are. I printed the wrong document.
Madam President,
Ms. Chichester?
I would like to add another edit to as well before communication. Make another amendment
Go ahead.
to add the DAV for their award.
I have that as added to guest speakers, which is right below communication, because they're for the award ceremony for that.
Awesome.
So, excellent.
Thank you.
No problem. Ms. Sorb? How are we doing?
Please forgive me.
You're
I-
fine.
I think Ms. Curitan had one too, if you want to go ahead and get hers while I look it up.
Yes, that's it.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
actually, I do not have one.
Oh,
Mine will be
sorry.
under guest speakers as well. Thank you.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement for retail electricity with a competitive retail electric service provider through the Center for Local Government Electricity Consortium.
Excellent. I think we have that potentially numbered Resolution 2-220. It would be 3. Resolution 3-2026. Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
It is a resolution.
Hold on a second. We are confirming.
Okay. So then it would be number 2 then? Yeah, sorry.
So it's 2-2026.
Okay, so can we restate that because we had some differing?
Yes, Madam President, I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add ordinance or resolution number 2-2026, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement for retail electricity with a competitive retail electric service provider through the Center for Local Government Electricity Consortium.
Do I have a second?
Madam,
Go ahead.
Never
Do I have a
mind.
second? Do I have a second?
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'll second.
So I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Gaston and a second from Ms. Zorb to amend the agenda to add Resolution 2-2026. Discussion?
yes, Madam President.
Ms. Clear.
According to council rules, legislation can only be added to the floor under specific circumstances, such as a true emergency. Is this considered a time-sensitive or an emergency piece of legislation?
Madam
Chair.
President.
Ms. Gaston.
To my understanding, this needs to be completed by the end of the month, and we can add it for its first reading. If there needs to be special meetings, then that is possible, but this is time-sensitive, correct, Madam Mayor?
Yes, it
Thank
is
you.
due by the end of the month. I believe they need to have it by the 28th.
Thank you.
Madam President, just
Ms. Curitin.
for a point of clarification, if this is truly an emergency, the clause is not included in the piece of resolution.
So we would have to amend, council would have to amend the resolution
To add it.
as an emergency.
Okay.
And
Thank
can
you.
you just provide a little bit more insight? I'm not sure. I don't want to make any rash decisions. What exactly is this?
So the city is in a consortium, which means we are part of a group that goes out and does our bidding for us. So we want to remain in that. So every 3 to 4 years, this comes back up. It's just a continual for us to be able to get the best rates for our city I believe this one is for electricity.
Is this a renewal or is it going into?
It's not.
Point of order, I'm sorry. We're just motioning right now to add it to the agenda. I believe this conversation would be best had after the first reading. And
Okay.
that's my point
Okay.
of order, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the ruling of the president, if it's up to you.
Madam President,
Ms. Curitin.
I'm not sure if we'll go through a first, second, and third, as the mayor just mentioned, that we might need to suspend the readings.
Okay, at this point, I do understand that this is something that was brought up very late. We did get the information. Would it be something that would behoove us to maybe have a recess closer to the time of the like right before legislation, to give you more time to read the material? Or
I'm speaking on behalf of Kathy Curitan.
I'm asking on behalf of Kathy.
Yeah,
Curitin.
I would definitely not make a vote this evening on something I just received at the final hour. I would need to make sure that I thoroughly read this, understand what we're voting on, so that I can vote
Okay.
accurately.
So I will state that there's always discussion after a reading, so we will have discussion, and I am open to having a recess before legislation so that you can have ample time to read the legislation, okay?
Madam President,
Ms.
but
Alexander?
right now we are
We
trying
are
to
just-
approve the
mhm.
agenda.
Yep.
So do we still need to place it
Oh, yeah.
on the agenda in order to?
We do.
Okay.
And we have a motion on the floor from Ms. Gaston and a second from Ms. Zorb to amend the agenda to add the 2-2026 resolution. So we've had discussion. We're going to do roll call.
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb.
I'm looking around. Hearing no more amendments, I'd like to make a motion, we accept the agenda as amended.
Madam President,
Ms.
Like-
Gaston.
I would like to second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to accept the agenda as amended. Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay. Everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes from 2/2/2026 meeting. Do I hear any motions?
Madam President,
President.
Ms. Clear?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Madam President,
Ms. Chichester?
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the second, her motion.
I have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes from the 2/2/2026 meeting. Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander, Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Ms. Clear, has there been any communications?
I have nothing for communications for this evening.
Ms. Clear, do you have anyone signed in from the audience?
No one has signed in for public comment.
Okay, now we're to the point of the guest speaker part of the evening. We have something special for Ms. Graves, if you'd like to step forward.
Yes.
Indeed, it is such a pleasure and honor. My name is Kathy Curitan. I serve on your city council for the city of North College Hill. As we all have been celebrating, this is the month of Black History. And I want to just introduce you all and present to others Mrs. Barbara Murray Graves. She is Black History in North College Hill. On behalf of the city of North College Hill, myself, Kathy Curitan, as council, our mayor, this is a proclamation honoring Mrs. Barbara Murray Graves, North College Hill Black History Month 2026. And it reads, whereas Mrs. Barbara Murray Graves is a proud 1976 graduate of North College Hill High School. In the year 2000, Mrs. Graves made history as the first African American elected to North College Hill City School District Board of Education, breaking barriers and opening doors for generations to follow. And whereas for 26 years and continuing, she has served 4 years as president and 4 years as vice president of the board. And whereas, understanding that strong schools build a strong city, Mrs. Graves extended her leadership beyond local boundaries through the Ohio School Boards Association, serving on the Urban Advisory Committee, Southwest Regional Committee, Southwest Regional Student Achievement Liaison Advisory Board, and chairing the Black Caucus Scholarship Committee. And whereas her devotion to family mirrors her devotion to community, she has been married to Maurice Graves for 49 years and is the proud mother of Nikki, Leslie, and Daniel, and grandmother of Adriana, Rashad, Raquel, and Ryan Rice. And whereas the Graves family legacy is deeply woven into the fabric of North College Hill, with Mrs. Graves, her husband, their daughters, granddaughter, 5 sisters, and 4 brothers, all proudly walk the halls as graduates of our beloved school district. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the city of North College Hill hereby honors and celebrates Mrs. Barbara Murray Graves for her extraordinary 26-year legacy and her dedication of service, her being a pioneer of leadership, and her enduring love. Her legacy is one of courage, compassion, and commitment. Her service has elevated our schools, strengthened our city, and inspired generations. North College Hill is stronger because of her. In witness whereof, I'm going to call our mayor, Mayor Nichols, up. You can read that part.
In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of North College Hill to be affixed this 17th day of February, 2026.
Thank you.
Ms. Graves, it is, it is an honor to present this to you. You're very instrumental in so many lives, and you speak little just tidbits, and you're actually the reason I'm here.
Yes.
Yes, you know that. You know that.
Yes.
You have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
We had to get you here to get them here, but that's okay. It's not much that we can say. You do a lot for our community, and we really appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
And it's an honor.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
I want to thank the council, the mayor, and the city of North College Hill. It has been an honor to serve our children. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Next up, for our guest speakers, we have Maurice Thomas.
Good afternoon, council. I'm here this evening to present an appreciation award to the fire and to the police and fire departments in North College Hill for letting us participate with them during Thanksgiving and Christmas, the Stuffer Cruiser. Okay, this award, like I said, is an appreciation award. We want to honor Chapter 115, North College Hill. We want to honor the police and fire department. Members of our chapter deeply appreciate your devotion in advancing the cause and interests of the men and women who were injured or sickened while serving our nation in uniform. Your commitment reflects dedication to duty that burns in the hearts of those you have helped. 2025, we really appreciate it. All the gentlemen and the ladies sitting over there. I brought them with me so I can have protection in getting out here. But thank you. Can't say enough. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Give it 1 second as everybody readjusts.
Thanks for coming. That's what she said.
It's just so crazy. My mom has known her entire. Who knew we'd come back to North Carolina?
Yeah, Mr.
Well, there's a lot less people in the audience now.
The popular person.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on, Brenda Beverly, come back. She can't leave. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so let's go on with committee reports. Ms. Clear, do you want to give an update from Rules and Public Policy?
Thank you, Madam President. We met on Monday, February 9th, and debuted a new agenda format for our committee where we have organized tasks that the committee will undertake by priority, thereby making sure that anything that's been referred to committee gets addressed first, followed by other things that are urgent and important to discuss in our committee. So with that being said, we discussed the potential change to schedules for council committees, and that will probably come up in new business potentially since all the committee chairs are now here. Second thing we discussed, we spent the majority of the meeting discussing, was the expense policies. The city is debuting some expense policies internally on the administrative side, and evidently this was something that's been on the radar screen, at least in this committee, since October. So I was happy that we were able to get that discussed. We have a path moving forward. And secondly, related to that was council expenditure procedures. And the long and short of it is we don't, I believe, need any legislation to move forward with any of this. What will happen is there will be some fine tuning of the parallel process, essentially, so we're not doing something that's radically different from administration when it comes to approvals of expenditures internally. Now, one thing that was clarified in the meeting was that the clerk of council can facilitate communication, but does not have the power or the duty or the mechanism to physically execute orders or expenditures. So that would still be a function of administration, but we would have an internal process on council's end to say, yeah, this is what we collectively agree we want to buy or we want to do. So that, with that being said, what we agreed to do was introduce a motion to amend council rules to add a rule. Basically governing internally how we handle things that of purchasing that would need to come against the council budget. So the funding's been appropriated, and we're not trying to step on any toes, but historically we've spent an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out how exactly do we go about doing this, case in point, name tags, which we'll talk about later. But we're hoping that this helps streamline it, helps give us a consistent communication flow between council and administration when things need to be purchased. And we're all following the same sheet of music, basically. That's the goal. The last thing we did talk about just very briefly toward the end was the council onboarding and offboarding process, but we had like 2 minutes left in the meeting, so we weren't able to get very far on that topic. And with that, our next meeting is going to be Monday, March 9th at 6:00 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Claire. Ms. Curitan, Public and Safety.
Thank you so much, Madam President. We met on Monday, February the 9th, and everyone was in attendance, and we spent a significant amount of time talking about our police department, some things they are implementing under the leadership of Chief Cheney. We also talked about the January statistics for our police department. We spent a substantial amount of time talking about how we can bridge and have a better collaboration with our citizens, our constituents, to make sure that there is a clear path line for understanding what our police department wants to do for our city, not what we've done historically, what we want to do moving forward. Our next meeting is also on Monday, March the 9th at 6:30 p.m. The committee invites all of council, even if you are not on this particular committee, to be in attendance. This is a really hefty agenda that we have. A couple of things that we did not get to on our agenda are inclusive of discussing the speed bumps in the city, because speed is definitely an issue in North College Hill, and inclusive of some additional property that the city owns, and understanding if our citizens are seeing things, they need to say something, just building that bridge. So I invite all of council to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Curitin. Ms. Gaston, City Community Development and Recreation.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So we met on February 9th at 7 p.m. and we discussed city initiatives and just events that are going to potentially happen in our city. For example, we have 4th of July coming up and we have Juneteenth. We also talked about, we had a guest speaker, Councilwoman Zorb joined us, and she discussed an idea that she had for junk car removal. So she is working on that initiative, and that's exciting. We also talked about our parks and where we stood with different grants and the process of, you know, beautifying our parks and things of that nature. We have another meeting this coming March on the 9th at 7 p.m. and I welcome everyone to send questions, comments, or concerns to me, and they will be addressed during our meeting. Thank you. That is all.
Thank you, Ms. Gaston.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Zor, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. We met on February the 9th at 7:30 p.m. At that meeting, we were presented from the finance manager the reports for the month, and actually we worked through a lot of that. There's some nuances of the reports that we might want to have tweaked, and so we talked through that to see how much we could adjustments could be made without putting our city in jeopardy of fraud. So we kind of there's still some more talk that has to happen behind that. We also discussed the cleanup ordinance, which we determined that a cleanup ordinance is not needed. There was the finance manager had the ability to move money within the funds in order to prevent that. So there were no, there's not, a cleanup ordinance was not needed. We also we were delivered the FOP contract, but the tentative agreement was emailed to all of council. We did not really discuss it in during the finance committee meeting. We also, common topic, so you're right, Ms. Clear, we do talk about it a lot, the nameplates. So we talked about the nameplates that we still don't have. And we talked about a piece of new legislation for the Planning Commission to their request for an allowance to hire a facilitator, and that resulted in new legislation that is in our packet tonight. We also discussed the RFP for waste and recycling, the service contract that Ms. Dukestein has put an RFP out there, and I believe the deadline for that was last Friday. So she should have all those entries by now. And our last item was the meter that would go on the city gas tank. And so we requested some additional supporting documentation from the city administrator to try to work through that and help us make that decision. And our next meeting will be on March the 9th at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Zorb.
Thank you.
Do we have any ad hoc reports tonight?
Madam President.
Ms. Clear?
Thank you. I attended, as the delegate for North College Hill to OKI, I attended their board orientation meeting on Thursday. Since this was my first experience with this group, I was so impressed with how well this group, for those of you who don't know, are dedicated to transportation infrastructure in our community. So land, sea, air, whatever, hovercraft, I don't know. Trains, things like whether people have vehicles in the home, they do not have vehicles, any mode of transportation that you can think of. And it's a cooperative effort between the 8 counties, essentially, that are in the Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana region. And what really makes this kind of special is they are a metropolitan planning organization. They call it an MPO. And they've consistently won national awards for how well our region has implemented and utilized the federal funds that have been given to us to improve our infrastructure here in our area. So I was really impressed with that. I'm really proud to represent North College Hill with that group, and I can't wait to learn more. Speaking of learning, they just launched a new page on their website for data and maps. It is amazing. Anybody out there who is looking for like community-based grant data, I strongly encourage you to look at that page. It is basically taking a bunch of data sources from like US Census and all these other things and made a dashboard out of it. So if you want to look at all of the bicycle infrastructure in our region, it's there. If you want to look at population demographics, it's there. So they've really invested a lot of time into this, and they intend to keep it updated annually. But that's just a fantastic resource for anybody who's looking for community-based data that they need for any reason, really. I just wanted to make sure that I shared that.
Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Claire.
Madam President,
Ms. Alexander?
do you have that page or what?
It is, it's, if you search for OKI, do Google OKI Regional Council of Governments, it should pop up. I believe we're the
Thank you.
only, I don't have the URL off the top of my head. I left my folder on my couch. Doesn't do me much help here.
Thank you. Any other ad hoc committee reports for tonight? Okay. Moving on to admin reports. Mayor Nichols?
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief. I just wanted to remind everyone, I think I initially said that the deadline for the newsletter was the 18th. It's actually the 20th. Okay, it's Friday, so I hear all those, ooh, so maybe. So Friday is the deadline, the 20th. The CIC meeting scheduled for this Thursday has been canceled for this month. I don't think they're gonna try to reschedule it. I know that they have some committees, subcommittees within the committee, so they have to do some things, so it's canceled. Finally, I'm not sure if you all get the emails from the commissioners, do you? Okay, so you got the email about the state of the county, which is the 3rd. Okay, that's all I have. I do think you have to RSVP at the link on the bottom, yeah.
Ms. Gaston? Did you, I thought I saw an email today where you had submitted for the mayor's newsletter.
Well, yes, I did. So I just did a placeholder ad just so that when citizens get the newsletter, they see that we have a council's corner now. So any information that would come from us, so updates on legislation, ordinances, anything that we want to spotlight, you're going to see it in that little area there. Right now, there wasn't an announcement coming from council, but just here we are, and you'll see us going forward. Thank you, Madam President.
So I see the city administrator is not here.
Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Dukestein is not feeling well, so she was unable to make it this evening.
Okay. Mr. Dieters?
Madam President, I'm sorry.
I'm
Madam
sorry, I
President,
apologize. Mr.
Please give me.
Ms. Ward?
Madam Mayor, I heard you say that the CIC is canceled. It's not canceled on the website.
The website. I just saw the email tonight, so I'll
Okay.
make sure they get it and
All right.
cancel it.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Mr. Dieters?
Madam President, I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
I do not see the finance manager here. Okay. Moving on. Call of members. Ms. Zorb?
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing for this evening.
Ms. Gaston?
I don't have anything this evening, Madam President, but thank you.
Ms. Alexander?
I just have one short thing. I don't know if some of our citizens received lovely items on their doorstep that people around the city are receiving little valentines, and I imagine that there'll be other things to come. I received one, said an anonymous, and I'm married, so I know it wasn't. I had to make sure my husband saw, hey, this says anonymous city person. But I just want to say that it was a nice little, treat to, open up the door and see that, someone from the city was thinking of me, and I'm sure there'll be other things to come throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Ms. Curtin?
Thank you, Madam President. Today, our country lost a pioneer of civil rights, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He lived a beautiful 84 years. I encourage us, each of us, to take a piece of his life and try to incorporate that into our very own lives. He was a pioneer for civil rights, and we are still in 2026 ensuring that everyone has equal rights. So thank you to the legacy that he left. Our prayers are with his family and all of those who are mourning a loss. And honestly, I want to encourage each of us, when we are seeing a lot of the ones who've passed away, those who have gone before us, so that it can make it a little bit easier for us. Don't just mourn today, tomorrow, next week, but find something from their own lives that you can incorporate into your very life to make this world a much happier and loving place. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clear?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to just also give a shout out to Mrs. Graves. I can't remember if this was mentioned in the proclamation, but she's also on the CIC, so she's not just engaged on the school level, but also, she's involved in the community in other ways, and it's really wonderful to see that kind of dedication in a public servant. Also, echo the DAV congratulating police and fire. They do so much in our community as well, above and beyond the call of duty. So I wanted to echo that. I did not attend Budget and Finance last time, but I made a note to myself when I watched the video. They were talking a little bit about the software that we're using and how we can utilize it to keep track of different things like projects and whatnot. And some members of the community may or may not know, when I was working in the admin side, the software that we had been using had literally not been updated since 1996. So utilizing the upgraded software, there is a little bit of a learning curve. That upgrade just happened like in the last, I want to say 18 months or so. Mayor can correct me if I'm wrong, but it hasn't been that long. So it's the same data, it's just got a new interface and we can do a lot more functionality with it. But I just wanted to shout out to the finance team, for dealing with that on top of everything else they have to deal with and audits and all of that fun stuff. So just a learning curve with new software. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and that's a challenge in and of itself. So I just wanted to give them a shout out as well.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, yes. First of all, for your Trojan basketball, let me see. The girls begin tournament play on Wednesday out in Middletown, and the boys will begin tournament play. It's out in Western Brown County. That is next Wednesday, the 25th. And I'd also like to piggyback about the loss of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Jesse Jackson, not only was he an activist, he was a preacher. And honestly, one of the better orators of our generation. And if you came up from in a certain generation, a certain time, you've heard the speech. You heard either keep hope alive or I am somebody. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, if I ain't got much keep hope alive for you. If I came up here trying to recite keep hope alive, as the kids would say, you got cap in your rap. But however, I will quote. Bear with me a couple seconds. Let me do a stanza from "I Am Somebody." This is a call. It's a call and response poem from the Reverend William Holmes Border Sr. But Jesse Jackson would adapt it and add it to his speeches. And quite frankly, as we go back to rebuilding a nation, community by community. You know what? Some of us need to know this, and some of us need to remember these things. I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in prison, but I am somebody. I may be unskilled, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. What time is it? Nation time. When we stand together, what time is it? Nation time. When we say no more struggle, it is nation time. When we say no more pain, it is nation time. When we say no more disrespect, what time is it? Nation time. Nation time will continue. It will continue to tick. We must continue to move forward. Thank you for your service, Reverend Jackson, and Godspeed.
Amen. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Chichester?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Davis, for that. Want to thank the DAV for the award to the police and fire departments tonight. It was a lot of work, unpacking, loading all of that, and transporting the food. And they did it in great spirit. They were just happy as can be to be able to serve North College Hill, and I just want to tell them thank you for that. Also, it's senior night tonight for North College Hill seniors, so congrats to those students, and we wish you well. I wish I could have came to your senior night. Also, as I won't go into quoting the Reverend Jesse Jackson, as Brandon as articulately just did. Just a call to the younger generation, to the youth, to step up and help fill those seats. I always say, this isn't our world anymore, it is yours. So you guys need to step up and start taking action for the world that you want to leave behind for the generations coming up from behind you. And I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chichester. Okay, further remarks from the audience? To our vast audience? Okay, hold on one second. You get 3 minutes. Excellent. You're my first one I got to use my timer for. I hope you feel so privileged. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Tracy Wright, North College Hill resident for a lot of years. I just want to say, can you all please think about the people who do not have social media at all. When we had the snow emergencies going on in the city, I had no information because why?
Into the light, please.
Why didn't I have any information about the snow emergency in North College Hill?
We don't do social media.
No social media. And what did North College Hill not do? Provide information on what? The website. I did go there to check, but my city didn't give it to me. And I'm not getting on Facebook, Instagram, or anything. So just think about us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Madam President,
Ms. Curitan?
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Ms. Wright, for sharing that information. There are a substantial number of citizens, inclusive of our elderly, who are not on social. And I do believe that we need to do a better job. Years ago, I understand that we had an ability to send push notifications to everyone's cell phone. There was something with a tower in the area, and if there was an emergency, that we had that ability. I've been reading recently that there is another storm brewing for Thursday. So I'm hoping that based on your feedback, Madam Mayor, if you can ensure that if there's ever an emergency or anything that would serve our citizens, if there's a power outage, if we've opened up the doors or what have you, that we will not just extend it just to Facebook, but we will then utilize our website if you have that capability as we build on making it a better streamlined process.
Madam President. I will yield to our mayor.
Ms. Nichols. Mayor Nichols.
Yes, to Ms. Wright's point and to Ms. Curitan's point, I made notes. I'll talk to Ms. Dukestein, about whomever updates our website to make sure that information is out there. And to your point with the app that we had, I think we started at maybe 2021. And we, wasn't a whole lot, but if that's something that we need to reconsider, I think we can look into that app again to see how that pans out.
Thank you. Ms.
Madam
Gaston?
President, after her.
Ms. Gaston.
I was just going to say to Madam Mayor that I would love to collaborate as a volunteer, however, for communication. So you know where to find me. So if you need me, call me.
You love social media.
That is all, Madam President.
But I'm sorry, Madam President, but Ms. Gaston, we gotta hit the people outside of social media.
Correct.
That's where our target audience is.
Yes, ma'am.
All done. Time to go home.
Ms. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I just wanted to also say, having been our website administrator for a couple of years, there's a built-in functionality where you can subscribe. So as long as the notifications are posted to the website, they will go out to anyone who is subscribed. It's right there on the front page. It's a button that says Notify Me, and you can sign up for the calendar updates, if they update the calendars, if they put any notifications out on the news flash, if they put any notifications on anything else that we're utilizing that has a subscription function. If you click on Notify Me, it's got all of it there, and you can opt in to email or through text. So there's both of those options that are already built into our website. So I wanted to offer that out as well.
Thank you, Ms.
But
Clear.
it has to be on the website in order for that to, so.
Thank you, Ms. Clear. Okay, so is there any other people that would like to speak from the audience? Okay, so before we move on to legislation, it was mentioned earlier about maybe possibly needing a recess. Is that still needed to look over the legislation, or do you think we can go forward and just utilize our discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Clear?
they said that the legislation was emailed out, or how was that distributed?
It was emailed.
Are there printed copies available here?
I'm sure there can be. So if
I just wasn't sure.
we can utilize a recess for that to print out some copies for you.
I think that would be helpful, and also for members of the audience who, are not on our email chain, to communicate with them what the legislation entails.
Okay. So do I hear a motion on the floor for a recess?
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston?
I'd like to make a motion that we take a 5-minute recess to review this piece of legislation.
Madam President,
Ms. Alexander?
I second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Gaston and a second from Ms. Alexander to have a recess for 5 minutes to be able to review the documentation for our legislation portion of the evening. Roll call?
Discussion?
Discussion?
Yep, Madam President.
Ms.
My
Curtin?
questions cannot be solved. I don't believe they can be solved from anyone on council. I would need to clarify with the person who wrote the legislation and or with our mayor to understand this better. So I don't know if a recess is best fit for me.
So Ms. Curitan, not to cut you short, I do apologize, but there is discussion after the reading, and at that point, you'll be free to ask your questions as needed.
Madam President, I understood that Mayor Nichols said this needed to be passed immediately. So two things, is that
Unless
true?
you're gonna have special meetings.
Unless we need to have special meetings. So,
I heard Ms. Gaston say that. I'm sorry, Madam President. I heard Ms. Gaston mention that earlier. If you're not gonna pass it tonight, we'll need special meetings to get it done. Ms. Stevens-Knotts can.
So I was working, but I was also watching the meeting. So let me answer the first question as to why this legislation is delayed in getting into your hands.
that's what it is. And you don't have to tell us why.
Oh, okay. Because the why, I think the why matters because I understand the spirit of this council and not wanting to rush legislation. The initial request that came literally landed in spam. It was not directed to any person specifically, so it landed in our finance-tax email, which is literally a black hole. So then I received a direct email saying, hey, we haven't received your legislation back. This has to be received by the 28th. Now, what is it? Currently, probably every month, you get your gas and electric bill, you are aggravated by the rate, and you have the luxury of going on to PUCO, P-U-C-O, the website, and looking for a better rate for your house. This legislation keeps us, the city of North College Hill, inside of the local government consortium that basically somebody else does that on our behalf. So it is not for the constituents, it is for local governments so that we get the best rate available as it relates to our electricity, and that I don't have to go out every month or, all this extra, waste all this extra time that we have going extra every month to find the best rate. This is done on our behalf as with us being a part of the group. Because of course, the more people that are purchasing, the better the rates. This happens about every 3 to 4 years. Normally, it happens about every 3 to 4 years. So right now it's about electricity. We might get another one here shortly about the gas.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston.
I have 2 questions for Ms. Stevens-Knott. Number 1, is this a renewal or a brand-new contract?
It's a do-over.
Okay.
So I don't like the word renewal because renewal suggests that we're paying for it. And contract suggests that we're paying for it.
Okay.
We're not paying for it. We're simply agreeing to be a part of the group.
Okay. And then my second question is, if it doesn't pass, what happens?
We get kicked out the group.
Ooh, okay. Thank
Anybody like their gas and electric bill right now? My electric bill came and I was cussing. So that would.
Madam President.
Ms. Zorb.
So, thank you, Ms. Stevens-Knott, for all of that update. I will tell you that I did a quick search of my email, and I found an old version. It was from 2023. The one thing that I noticed, I compared this version to the new one, and I noticed that this version had a specific kilowatt hour listed. And I noticed the new one just says something about, I didn't print it. It's something about not to exceed Duke's current price or something of that nature. Is there a reason we didn't, or they didn't, someone didn't, come up with an exact
because
exact price?
I can only speak from a citizen's perspective. Just the cost of energy is literally up and down. And so I believe that they had put themselves into a pigeonhole that they were not able to honor. And so what they've recognized is minimum what we're going to do is we're not going to go over Duke. And so if all else fails, we'll have to go with Duke's rates. But their goal is to always be below Duke's rates. And I'm sure everyone knows when you get your Duke energy bill, Duke tells you if you're going to save money or whoever you go with, it needs to be below this rate. It's written on your bill. And so they're going to honor that process.
Madam President.
Ms. Curtin.
So thank you so much for that information. I'm looking at the language and I want to make sure I understand. A, we are desiring to use priority power management to do work for free to find us a better rate. They're not charging us anything. So can you confirm why this is urgent?
Because they sent it in December and basically our prior agreement is expiring.
Can you confirm?
Madam President, I'm sorry, point of order. We're trying to decide to get the legislation in front of everybody, and there will be an opportunity for discussion once we get to the legislation portion of the agenda. I'm just concerned that we're going down a rabbit hole, and not everybody's got it in front of us to be able to follow along.
Thank you, Ms. Claire, for that point of order. So we have a motion on the floor. It has a first, it has a second, so we're to roll call.
Ms. Zorb.
Before,
I'm sorry?
I just want to clarify, Madam President. We are voting to do what exactly? Can you just confirm?
We're voting to go into
To
a 5-minute
recess.
recess. One of the things that's going to happen
Sure.
during that is that somebody, Ms. Clear, is going to print out this legislation for you all to look at. And the rest of that time, I would hope you'd be looking at it. And then once we get back from recess, then we'll start on the legislative part of the evening. And once we get to this portion of the legislation, this particular resolution 2-2026, at that point, once it's read, we can have a discussion and the rest of our questions can be answered.
So, Madam President, just to clarify, I understood that there needs to be 2 amendments to this piece of resolution.
Yes.
Are we voting and then discussing the amendments later?
I don't know anything about amendments.
No.
So there were 2 things, Madam
2?
President. There were. The first thing is that our mayor mentioned that we needed to have it done. So either we're going to have special meetings and/or she mentioned changing the language to add an emergency clause.
Well, the
So
special,
that's the first.
the emergency clause, the special meetings aren't going to help that. That needs to be done either way, even if it's suspended tonight. Because the
No.
emergency
No.
clause,
Yes.
it'll, yes.
Because if you don't have the emergency clause, it goes into effect 30 days. If you do the emergency clause, it goes into effect then.
Exactly.
Madam President. Madam President. So I know Ms. Clear doesn't want us to discuss this yet, and I completely appreciate that, but it doesn't. There is a section in there that says it goes into effect immediately.
In the legislation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it's written, so the emergency was written
It's in
into
there.
the
Again, I think
It's
legislation.
just
Madam
not in the
President.
title.
Okay.
It has to be in the title.
Excellent.
I
This
was
can
going to
all
say,
be
this
taken
can all
care
be,
of-
would have
right,
been,
this
if
can
we all
be-
had it in front of us, we
Right.
could
Yes.
see.
Yes. So,
Just bringing that up again.
so like I was saying,
Madam Chair, Madam President,
Madam,
I would
Madam Mayor.
just extend your break because of the copy time. I don't know if you'll have time to review.
Madam
Just a
President,
suggestion.
Ms. Gaston, would you
I would
like
like to withdraw my motion and do another motion to go for 15 minutes.
Okay.
A recess for 15
Do I have a
minutes.
second?
Madam President,
Ms. Alexander?
I'll second.
So I have a motion from Ms. Gaston and a second from Ms. Alexander to have a recess for 15 minutes and so that we can print out this legislation and look at it. Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
We're entering recess.
Are you setting your timer?
second anything?
Madam President, I second that.
Oh, no. We don't want to make this official.
Okay.
So for real.
I will
So-
restate. I would like to make a motion that we come back in from recess and resume our meeting.
Madam President,
Ms. Chichester.
I would like to second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Gaston and a second from Ms. Chichester to resume our meeting. Okay. Legislation, Ms. Clear? Roll call? Sorry, I was excited. I wanted to just get going. Roll
Ms.
call?
Sorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Carrington,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Back from recess. We are now resuming. All right, now we're to the legislation portion of the evening. Ms. Clear?
All right. First up, we have third reading, Resolution 01-2026, a resolution expressing formal censure regarding certain statements and conduct by a member of City Council during an official meeting.
Okay, as this is the
Madam
third reading.
President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion, we adopt Resolution 1, 2026.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston?
I second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Gaston to adopt Resolution 1-2026. Discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Clear?
having thoroughly read Resolution 01-2026, I am reluctant to support it, not because I believe the conduct at issue was acceptable, but because I believe the matter was already resolved through proper procedures. In my view, this resolution unnecessarily escalates a situation that has already been addressed. I want to be clear that I found council members' Chichester statements regarding another council member during the January 3rd meeting to be improper, and I disapprove of them. However, I believe that appropriate procedural corrective action has already taken place. Councilmember Chichester was reprimanded for violating rules of decorum by the president of council at the time of the incident on January 3rd. During the next regular council meeting on January 5th, documentation and testimony refuting Councilmember Chichester's original claims was provided in open meeting. Therefore, the official record reflects verified facts. It is important to note that Resolution 01-2026 does not document either of the preceding corrective actions, nor does it seek any additional corrective action from Councilmember Chichester, such as a formal retraction or a public apology. It only seems to reiterate formal disapproval of Councilmember Chichester's statements, which have already been addressed and corrected through other procedural tools. For these reasons, I believe revisiting this issue for a third time through a resolution of censure risks turning what should be a straightforward corrective process into an escalating conflict and forces individual council members to publicly align themselves for or against a colleague in a way that does not serve this body or the public.
Thank you, Ms. Clear. Any further discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Chichester?
for the sake of unity and forward progress, I support that we table the matter, but I know that has to be done with a motion. But like Ms. Clear just stated, we've already corrected. I retracted. I apologize, and I thought in the spirit we're moving forward before the resolution was put to the table.
Any further discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Curitan?
I recall, better yet, let me clarify. Mrs. Clear, I believe that you mentioned that the corrective action was taken. I don't know if I have accurate record of that. So, Ms. Chichester, can you confirm the date that the corrective action was taken?
I believe it was right at the next meeting.
The 5th, right?
Yes.
And can you confirm the corrective action that was taken?
I can't publicly, it was in executive session.
Madam President.
So, Madam President, just to clarify, I know that you cannot clarify publicly the action, but I thought that there was a sequence that was to follow. And so I want to make sure that in the spirit of unity, that we understand what the plan was and the sequence that's followed. This is not intended, I believe.
As a
I
point of
didn't-
order, I wasn't talking about executive session.
Neither was I.
Excuse me. Let's, let me remind everyone that yes, we are in discussion, but you do need to address the president of council, and it's not just a free-for-all, okay?
Thank you. I was speaking, Madam President. Thank you so much for that. So I just wanted to confirm, Madam President, maybe you can clarify, or another member of council can clarify the exact date. I want us to be effective in our communication, and if I missed it, please someone let me know the date of the corrective action, and if so, we can someone provide me on this council the date of the corrective action?
Madam President,
I don't have it.
I have
that
it.
was January 5th, right?
Madam
January
President,
3rd and the 5th.
it was before the resolution was even.
Ms. Chichester, I actually have a quick question myself.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned in your discussion when you were speaking just a moment ago that you did an apology.
I did. Believe at the meeting I apologize for my words, my actions, and for not coming to the table with what was in the spirit of, I'm trying to remember, give me just a moment, professionalism. And I'm trying to, a lot of this was in executive session, so I can't move
I'm
tie
just
the two
asking
together.
specifically about the apology that you mentioned outside of it just a moment ago. You stated that you did give one.
Yes, yes. And I also said that my words at the time were not the clear interpretation of what I was trying to convey.
Thank you for clarifying. Mr. Davis, were you trying to say something a second ago?
I'm good for now. I'm good.
Okay.
Madam President,
Ms.
I
Nichols?
just had a question.
Sure.
Was this legislation ever discussed in a committee? Because typically when we have legislation that's on the floor, it's discussed in a committee.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston?
we discussed it in executive session with our law director.
Madam President, if I may, I found the
Ms. Clear?
notes
Go
that
ahead.
I was referring to. In the minutes of the meeting on Monday, January 5th, 2026, call of members, Council Member Zorb addressed the claim from the organizational meeting on January 3rd that she had been formally removed from the Budget and Finance Committee. She was not removed from the committee. She was not voted back into council during that time and was not on the committee as a result. She had copies of the minutes from those meetings in January 2020. Those are the documentation and the testimony that I referred to in my statement from the meeting on January the 5th in open meeting during call of members. That documentation and testimony was provided. That corrected the record.
Madam President.
Ms. Alexander?
Just for my clarity, because Ms. Curitan, you asked, some of the questions that you were asking was I needed for clarity. And just my recollection, the process, and I'm going back to the apology, just from my recollection, it was just for a portion. It was just for not having the facts. Now, I mean, and if I'm remembering this incorrect, let me know. But it was just for the portion of, I didn't bring the facts with me. That's what the apology was. And if that was incorrect, hey, let me know.
Madam President,
Ms. Chichester?
I would like to ask the law director a few questions.
Of course.
Absolutely. So, privately, there was an apology. Publicly, there was statements made. Mr. Dieters, part of that, what I was trying to convey was historical facts. It was not intended to attack Ms. Zorb, but because I'm trying not, Mr. Dieters, were there things discussed that backs up what we're saying here for the resolution.
Not
From
sure.
your,
Not
when
sure
we
I
asked your opinion about.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
So the question is, didn't we think the matter was resolved after our last meeting?
Well, I was only present for the executive session portion of
That's
it.
what I'm talking about.
Which I can't speak as to what happened in that meeting, unfortunately.
So do we need to go back into executive session, discuss, so that we can make sure that we're all 100% on clear on things, so that before you vote, if you're not able to speak openly about these things, because we're bound for executive session.
Madam President,
Ms. Gaston?
a couple of things. Well, number one, a censure is a form or expression of disapproval. It's not discipline. We're not saying that she's not allowed to speak or anything like that. That's what this piece of legislation does. It's just a formal expression without disclosing everything that was said in a private meeting. There was a follow-up that was stated that would happen, and I don't know if that has happened yet. And I believe that it sounded as if Ms. Clear was saying that it did happen, but I don't believe that it did. What I am referring to specifically, what Ms. Zor brought to council does not eradicate or get rid of what I believe has not happened.
Madam President,
Ms. Curitan?
just to echo those same sentiments without divulging what we discussed in executive session, going back to my original question, what we thought was going to occur, I'm looking for the date. I have all of the council notes, and so far, I have not found that information. If I am overlooking it, I would ask my fellow council members to point it out. However, so far, what we discussed would be the sequence of events are not noted in any, although Ms. Zorb did make a testament to clarify on her own behalf. What we're referring to are the statements that were made from Ms. Chichester.
Okay, so where we are at here is we are on the third reading of this. And I was also back in executive session. And I am also under the understanding that a sequence of events did not happen because they were supposed to be made publicly. So we can do one of two things. Well, actually, we can do one of many things, but in the essence of time. We can table this, and we can refer this to committee, and this can be discussed. But again, we'd be limited to what was discussed in executive session. We can make a motion to open up executive session. But a lot of things were spoken to back there that I don't really feel needs to be spoken out here. But I do think that if we need to open up executive session with a motion just to mention what part is missing that we are looking for, that would be what would be the only thing I would think that we could open up executive session to talk about. But right now where we're at, we have a motion to accept or to pass, and we have a second. So right now we've had a lot of discussion. Unless I hear any motions or any other ideas, I'm going to call roll call, and we're just going to let the vote go up and down as it may. Do I have any other suggestions?
Madam President, I did find the remarks because I never brought up executive session. My remarks were specifically to what was stated and what was presented in open meeting. It is also a fact that Resolution 01-2026 does not require any additional corrective action. So I fail to understand the point. So the in January 5th, during call of members, Ms. Chichester stated she was wrong by saying removed and that she should have said not selected. This predates the decision to go into executive session. But be that as it may, my original remarks still stand, and I do have I know this is being recorded, but I do have a written copy for the minutes of my exact remarks so that I never said anything about executive session. I was only referring to what was stated in an open meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Claire. Ms. Alexander.
President. Oh, never
Oh,
mind.
I
Go ahead.
apologize.
I'm
Was it
sorry.
you,
Go
Ms.
ahead.
Alexander?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I feel like, everybody's kind of like dancing around the mulberry bush. Ms. Chichester, I'm just going to ask, did you follow through with everything that you agreed to?
It was my understanding that
Because it was, did
It
you
was-
follow
it
through
was-
with everything
it was-
that you, yeah.
to my understanding, yes, I thought I did. If I misstepped, let me reiterate once again. I do apologize for my words to you. I did not mean to hurt your feelings in any way. My intent was not to attack you. My intent was only to convey for the record of historical reference. Did I do that eloquently? No, I agree. It was not my best moment. Professionally, I should have been able to, before I brought anything to council floor, have facts, have evidence to back up anything when you do things like that. I apologize. Did not mean to.
Madam President, I'm sorry. Are you done?
I am done.
Ms. Nichols.
Um,
After this, I am going to call a point.
I just want to make a statement. When I go back and think over the days to not to anybody's point, I was going to say to Ms. Clears, but that particular day, I was not in executive session. We all know this. So anything that I get, I'm picking up here, and I'm not picking up much. But what I do gather is that I do know that this legislation was presented before call of members. So the appearances that you came out of that meeting, and the decision was made either way to put this on the agenda, because at the start of that meeting, Ms. Gaston, you made a motion to add this before call of members. And so what it appears like, I'm just talking just appearance, what I'm sitting here, is that either way, if she did not apologize to Ms. Zorb, then this is what we're going to do. So it sort of appears like this was just something that was already either way, whether she apologized
Madam
or
President,
not, or whether
Ms.
she
Zorb?
apologized or
I'm-
not.
I feel like I'm getting beat up all over again. I'm really over this. So let me be clear. I'm going to be, Mr. Dieters, if I cross a line, please stop me immediately. So in executive session, which Ms. Nichols, you were not in,
That's
so
what I just
I want to
said.
reiterate that. So there was, for lack of a better term, an agreement made in executive session of tasks that would be accomplished before the next meeting. Those were not accomplished. They weren't. For whatever reason, you can,
Madam President.
every single one of it. And another point of order, Madam President, Ms. Clear will know that council rules states everyone only speaks twice. So there's been way more than that happening on this. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make sure that ceases. And I'm sorry my voice is cracking because this is so upsetting to me. I can't believe we're doing this again.
Madam President,
I feel like the victim that keeps getting beat up, and I'm over it. I'm over it.
Ms. Gaston.
I call the question.
Ms. Clear. Roll call? Because we do have a first and a second for this motion, for this.
Ms. Sorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Curitan,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
No.
Mr. Davis,
No.
Miss Chichester,
No.
Motion fail, 4-3.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have an emergency clause.
I thought call the question needed 5.
Ms. Clear, just to reiterate to the audience and to everyone listening, this resolution did not have an emergency clause, correct?
This was for call the question, I thought. There's a motion to call the question to go
Fair
into
point.
immediate vote.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
mind did. So when it comes to call the question, it is just a majority of the people that are here. And so that is 4, so motion passed for call the question.
So everyone knew what they were voting on.
Was everybody clear that they were voting on call the question, other than myself?
I was not, but I, Madam President.
Would you like to, do we need to retake the vote?
Give me just a minute here, if I may.
Are you okay with moving on? Or would you like to retake your vote?
I was unclear, as I thought we were also, because there was a secondary motion, and I thought that's what we were moving toward.
So what we voted for was call the question, which means discussion stops, and we're going to move forward with actually voting on the resolution. And that you voted no. Did you want to discuss further?
I was also just now verifying that votes in our council rules are silent on how many votes are required for call the question. So, which defaults to 4 then.
Yes.
So it would pass either way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we will move on. So call the question. So we have a motion on the floor from going back to the legislation, Resolution 1-2026, just for clarity's sake. We've had call the question. Now we are to Ms. Gaston.
Yes, Madam President.
No, it was Ms. Zorb first. You made a motion, and Ms. Gaston, you seconded that motion.
Yes, Madam President.
We've had discussion, and now we've had call the question, and that has passed. Roll call.
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Gaston?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Curitan?
Yes.
Ms. Clear?
No.
Mr. Davis?
No.
Ms. Chichester?
No.
Motion pass, 4-3.
Next piece.
We have first reading ordinance 02-2026, an ordinance appropriating expenses associated with the Planning Commission strategic work session.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I would like to make a motion to suspend second and third reading on this, on ordinance 2-2026.
Do I hear a second?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor to suspend second and third readings for Resolution 2-2026. A motion from Ms. Zorb and a second from Mr. Davies to suspend. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Gaston?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander? Ms. Curitan?
Yes.
Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes.
Motion passed, 7-0.
Okay, we need a motion.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2-2026.
Madam President,
Ms. Alexander?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Alexander to to adopt Resolution 2-2026 for the Electric Consortium. Discussion?
No, it's not.
No.
This is the
Planning
Planning
Commission.
Commission strategic work session.
I apologize. I have it written down incorrectly.
That's true.
It's kind of merged in.
Okay. So I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Alexander to adopt ordinance 2-2026, appropriation for planning commission work session. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Madam President,
Ms. Alexander?
I was looking over the legislation, and we have 2-26 on both items, on the consortium and on the planning commission.
That's why I got, okay, thank you.
We have the same number on there, so.
Okay.
we need to-
Madam President,
Madam President.
Ms. Zorb?
the Planning Commission is an ordinance.
Resolution, okay.
The Planning Commission is an ordinance. The electric is a resolution.
Sorry.
Okay. Mr. Davis? Okay,
Same.
all right. Ms. Clear? Are we gonna do the,
Is there a motion?
No, you have to tell us about legislation.
Oh, sorry. A resolution, or we have the first reading of Resolution 02-2026, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement for retail electricity with a competitive retail electric service provider through the Central for Local Government Electricity Consortium.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I would like to make a motion to amend Resolution 2-2026 to add to the title and declaring an emergency.
Do I hear a second?
Madam President,
I'm sorry.
I second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Gaston to amend Resolution 2-2026 to add emergency language to the title. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Madam President,
Ms. Clear?
I would like to make a motion to amend Resolution 2-2026, the 6th whereas the city desires to authorize, and the phrase is their respective chief executive officers, in order to be consistent with Section 2 on the following page where it says administration is authorized, that I move that we strike the phrase their respective chief executive officers and instead replace that with administration. So the new sentence would read, the city desires to authorize administration to enter into a new agreement.
Do I hear a second?
Madam President, I'll second.
And just as a point of clarification, Ms. Clear, did you say that was Section 6?
The whereas clauses are not numbered, but it's the 6th one down. This is the second from the bottom of the first page. It says authorize their respective chief executive officers, and I believe that that should say administration instead of chief executive officers.
Thank you for that clarification. Any further discussion on this amendment? Okay, so I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Clear and a second from Ms. Zorb to firm up the verbiage that is on the 6th whereas, to strike out the verbiage of prospective people to administration. Roll call.
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Curitan,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Miss Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Any further amendments?
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion, we suspend second and third reading on Resolution 2, 2026.
Madam President.
Ms. Alexander?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Alexander to suspend second and third readings of Resolution 2-2026. Discussion? Roll call?
Miss Zorb,
Yes.
Miss Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Curitan,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Miss Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2, 2026, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement for retail electricity with competitive retail electric service provider through the Center for Local Government and Center for Local Government Electricity Consortium and declaring an emergency.
Madam President.
Ms. Gaston?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Gaston to adopt Resolution 2-2026 for the Electric Consortium as amended. Discussion? Roll call.
Miss Zorb,
Yes.
Miss Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Curitan,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Miss Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Next I have on the agenda is going into an executive session. Do I have a motion?
As soon as I find it. Yes. Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion that we go into, that council enters into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22 G1. Council will enter into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, discipline, or compensation of a public official or employee, and G4, to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Ms. Zorb, I'm hesitant to add it here, but at some point in here, we need to, who needs to come into executive session?
All of council, the law director, and the mayor. I was going to invite the finance manager, but apparently she has left.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Madam President.
Ms. Alexander?
A second.
I have a motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb and a second from Ms. Alexander to go into executive session with everything that Ms. Zorb has elaborated. It is for, I think it was it's Ohio Revised Code Section 121-22, and it was G2 and Section G4.
G1.
G1 and G4?
Yes.
Yes. Roll call?
Miss Zorb,
Yes.
Miss Gaston,
Yes.
Miss Alexander,
Yes.
Miss Curitan,
Yes.
Miss Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Miss Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Resuming. We are back from executive session. Any old business?
I have one item of old business, Madam President.
Ms. Clear?
I will not go into the expense procedure. However, since this does concern old business, I would like to make a motion, if possible, to authorize the city administration to purchase name placards for the 3 individuals on council who will need them.
Do I have a second?
Madam President,
Ms. Zorb?
I will second.
So I have a motion from Ms. Clear and a second from Ms. Zorb to authorize the administration to purchase 3 name placards for our new council people. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander, Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Any other old business? Any new business?
Madam President.
Ms. Zorb? Gaston?
Go ahead.
I apologize.
Nope, go ahead.
Madam
It's
President, I make a
Curitin.
motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Madam President. I was about to say Madam
We're
Mayor.
so tired.
Yes, I will second.
I have a motion from Ms. Curitin and a second from Ms. Gaston to adjourn. Roll call?
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander, Ms. Curitan,
Yes.
Ms. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.